Containers are one of these things. I think that the one slide that I saw once is that managing one is really easy, but when you start to manage a lot of them, it starts to get really complex fast. So Kubernetes makes things a lot easier, but the thing that often gets overlooked is the need for a data services layer. You may have a container storage interface driver for your block storage system, but odds are that CSI driver is going to be presenting read-write once storage to the host. And that means that you're not going to be able to have everything working with it the way that containers want to. So one of the things that I really like about Fusion is that it makes the deployment of these data services so much easier, and not just presenting the read-write many storage, but also handling things like backup that might get overlooked in, just in general when you're trying to plan these things out. Then you add to that the rise of KubeVirt, or OCP virtualization. I'm a big fan of everything that's happening with the upstream project as well as the Red Hat version of it. The thing that is going to hit, though, is that storage works differently in a Kubernetes type of environment versus your typical SCSI environment. The users are not going to be as used to doing that kind of thing. So bringing in the Fusion data access capability is really going to make that easier. It's going to give a lot more options to the end user as far as what they might choose to do with the virtualization landscape while also trying to modernize the applications. Well, obviously there has been a seismic change to everything that's happening in VMs. And I have seen my end users looking for what their alternatives are. And they don't want to stay necessarily where they are. They might keep some stuff where it is, but they need to know that they have some kind of alternatives. And one of those alternatives that's out there is going to KubeVirt and OpenShift virtualization. So the easier that we can make that, the better off that they are, the more secure that they'll feel that they're not trapped with regard to their virtual machines, even while they might be trying to move some applications into a cloud-native type application environment. They're trying to find out what kind of parity there is with existing types of hypervisors that they're working with. And then, it becomes a question of how do you do backup? How do you connect the storage? How do you provide the storage? Doing a persistent volume claim is not the same thing as spinning up a volume and putting it into, just as one example, but a VMware data store. This is definitely a marathon. I see at this point mostly interest. Not everyone is necessarily ready to jump over right now. It's very much in a planning stage. But the big issues are going to be around, when are contracts coming due and how much can they reasonably move over in a given amount of time. I think that it's going to be more of pieces moving over and then, making decisions based on what the landscape looks like after that. But, I think that we've seen in a lot of areas, in every market of IT, that being trapped into one particular environment isn't necessarily what the end users want, and so we need to be able to give them flexibility.